Run your hand across the cabinet door right next to your stove. Not the one across the kitchen, the one right next to the burners. If it feels a little sticky, a little like it's got a film on it, you already know what I'm talking about. That's grease. Not from a spill, from just cooking. Every time you fry something, every time you saute, the oil goes into the air in these tiny little particles you can't even see, and they float right over and land on your cabinets day after day, week after week. And eventually that invisible mist turns into a visible film, and that film turns into something you'd almost rather not know about. I've seen people scrub those cabinets with the harshest stuff they could find and still not get it off. I've also seen them get it off in about 20 minutes with things they already own. There's a right way to do this and a wrong way, and the wrong way can strip the finish right off the wood and leave you with a worse problem than you started with. So let me show you what actually works. First, let's talk about what you're dealing with. That sticky coating on your cabinets is basically cooking oil that has sat there and dried out and picked up dust on top of it over and over until it turned into something more like a varnish than a splatter. The stuff right next to the stove gets the worst of it, and the cabinet above the stove, if you have one, gets hit the hardest of all. The heat from the burners pushes the oil vapor up, and it lands up there and bakes a little every single time you cook. That's why that spot is always the worst. Now here's the thing people do wrong. They see that baked-on gunk and they reach for the strongest degreaser they can find, the kind they use to clean engine parts. And those heavy degreasers will cut through the grease, but they'll cut through your cabinet finish right along with it. You strip the finish, now the raw wood is exposed, and raw wood absorbs everything. You've traded sticky cabinets for cabinets that are going to stain and swell and never quite look right again, so the answer is not harsher. The answer is the right thing applied the right way. The right thing for everyday greasy buildup is something most people already have: Murphy oil soap. It's been around since 1910, and there's a reason it's still here. It's made for wood. It cleans without drying the finish out, without eating into it, without leaving anything harsh behind. You can pick up the spray bottle or the regular liquid. Either one works. If you've got the liquid, mix about a quarter cup into a gallon of warm water. Warm, not hot enough to scald you, but as warm as you can comfortably work with. Warm water moves grease. Cold water doesn't do much. Wring out your cloth so it's damp, not dripping. This matters. You don't want to soak the wood moisture that sits on wood, works its way into seams and joints, and causes swelling over time. Damp cloth, wrung out well. Now wipe. Go with the grain of the wood, not against it, not in circles, with the grain. The film on greasy cabinets will start coming off almost immediately on a lightly soiled door. On the ones that have been building up for a while, let the solution sit for just a minute, maybe 60 seconds before you wipe. That's all it needs. You're giving it time to get under the grease and loosen its grip on the finish, and then you wipe it right off. No hard scrubbing, just a little patience and then a smooth wipe with the grain. When you've gone over a section, go back with a clean damp cloth and plain water to wipe off the soap residue. Then immediately dry it with a dry cloth. Don't let it air dry. Dry it yourself, right then. That's the habit that keeps wood cabinets looking good for decades instead of years. By the way, everything I'm teaching you in this video, this is the kind of thing that fills my book. Every practical method I use to run this house for less, written down in one place. It's on my website, the link's right below the video. Go grab it. I won't mention it again. Now, knobs and pulls. Those things are probably the grimiest spot in your whole kitchen, and people forget about them. Everybody grabs the knob with whatever's on their hands: butter, cooking oil, hand lotion, and it builds up in the crevices where you can't get a cloth into easily. The right way to handle those: take them off. Most knobs are held on by a single screw you can pop out in about a minute. Drop them in a bowl of warm water with a few drops of dish soap. Just let them soak for 5 or 10 minutes. The grease softens right up, and you can wipe it off with a cloth or get into the corners with an old toothbrush. Rinse them, dry them, put them back. Done. Trying to clean a knob while it's still attached to the door is a losing battle. You just push the grime deeper into the corners. Take them off. Now here's the part I want to make sure you stay for, because this is the one that surprises people. What do you do when the grease has been there long enough to really harden? Not the film that just needs a good wipe, the thick, dark, almost sticky dry spot that's been cooking against the wood for a year or two right next to the burner. The Murphy soap will make progress on that, but it's going to take work and probably more than one pass. There's a faster way. Put oil on it first. I know, that sounds backwards. You're trying to get grease off, and I'm telling you to add more. But here's the thing, old, hardened grease that's bonded to a surface doesn't want to let go of water-based cleaners. It's been baked on and it's sealed itself, but it will let go of oil. Oil gets underneath it and breaks the bond, the way rust loosens a stuck bolt when you give it penetrating oil, dissolves like plain mineral oil. The inexpensive kind, the same thing you'd use to season a wooden cutting board. You can find it in most grocery stores or drugstores for just a few dollars. Dab a little on a cloth and rub it onto the hardened spot. Let it sit there for 2 or 3 minutes. You'll feel the surface change, what was crusty and bonded starts to move. Then wipe it off with a clean cloth. The old grease comes with it. It sounds like a magic trick, but it's just what oil does to oil. After you've loosened it that way, go back over with your Murphy soap solution to clean up the oil you applied, and then dry as you normally would. That's the full sequence for a really bad spot. Mineral oil first, then soap and water, then dry. And I want to say one more thing about that mineral oil because it has a second job. After you've finished cleaning, a very thin wipe of mineral oil over your wood cabinet faces will restore a little of the natural look to them and put a mild protective layer between the wood and the next round of cooking grease. Not a heavy coat, just a thin wipe with a barely there amount on a cloth, buffed in with the grain. It feeds the wood a little. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. Now, let me talk about dish soap, because maybe you don't have Murphy oil soap in the house right now, or you want to know if it works. It does. A 1/4 cup of plain dish soap, Dawn is fine. Any plain dish soap without a lot of additives, works mixed into a sink of warm water, makes a perfectly capable cabinet cleaner for a regular wipe down. The same rules apply. Damp cloth, not soaking wet, go with the grain, rinse, dry right away. Dish soap is a strong degreaser on its own, which is why it works. It's designed to cut oil. If you're in a pinch, it'll get the job done on a cabinet that just needs regular maintenance. What I'd save the Murphy soap for is wood cabinets you want to preserve. The Murphy's is gentler on the finish and kinder to the wood over time. The dish soap is effective, but it's a little more drying if you use it over and over. Fine for a once-in-a-while clean. For the regular routine, Murphy's. Now let me tell you what not to do, because people do these things and regret them. Don't use straight white vinegar on wood cabinets. Vinegar gets recommended for everything, and it's genuinely useful for a lot of surfaces. But wood is not one of them. The acid in vinegar is hard on wood finish. Over time, it dries it out and can cause it to crack. A little diluted here and there probably won't ruin anything, but it's not the right tool for this job, and there are better options that do more. Don't use baking soda on wood cabinet fronts. I know it seems gentle, but baking soda is gritty enough to scratch a finished surface when you're rubbing it in. Save the baking soda for the inside of the cabinet, the shelves, where you're not worried about protecting a finish. Don't let the cabinet stay wet. Wipe it, rinse it, dry it, every time. The minute you start letting water sit on wood is the minute you start doing damage that shows up later as peeling veneer or soft spots at the joints. And don't use anything labeled as a heavy degreaser, the kind marketed for stovetops or tile. Those are formulated for surfaces that can take it. Your cabinet finish cannot. Now, the question I get more than any other on this topic: how often should you be cleaning them? Honestly, the less often you want to do a big job, the more often you should do a little one. The cabinet's right next to the stove. A quick wipe with a damp cloth once a week takes about 2 minutes and keeps the grease from ever building up into a project. Once a month, do the whole kitchen with your Murphy soap solution. That's it. If you get into that habit, you will never again be standing in your kitchen staring at a cabinet that looks like something you need an afternoon to deal with. And one thing that makes a meaningful difference in how fast the grease builds up in the first place: use your range hood fan every time you cook. Every time. Not just when something is burning. Turn it on when you start and let it run while you cook. That fan is pulling the oil vapor up and out before it has a chance to float over and settle on your cabinets. It won't eliminate the buildup entirely, some always settles, but it cuts down dramatically on how fast it happens. Now here's where I want you to think for a moment about who profits when you don't know this. The cleaning product aisle is full of specialty cabinet degreasers with their own fancy bottles and their own specific claims, priced anywhere from $6 to $15. Most of them are not doing anything fundamentally different from what I've just described. They're using surfactants, the same class of thing that makes dish soap work with fragrance added and maybe a little solvent. Then they put it in a bottle with a picture of shiny cabinets on it and charge you for the branding. Murphy oil soap is about $5. A bottle of mineral oil is $3 or $4. A bottle of Dawn dish soap, which you already own, costs whatever it costs because you're already buying it anyway. None of those things have a marketing budget. None of them have a company running TV commercials to remind you that your cabinets are dirty and that their product is the only thing that can fix it. The people who make the fancy degreaser sprays would very much prefer that you never notice their product, and your dish soap have quite a lot in common. That's not a conspiracy, it's just a business. They're selling convenience and confidence. The confidence that you're using the right product. And the right product for this job has been sitting in your cleaning cabinet the whole time. So here's what I want you to do this week. Go run your hand along the cabinet right next to your stove. If it's sticky, get a bucket of warm water. Put a quarter cup of Murphy oil soap in it, wring out a cloth, and start at the top. Work your way down so you're not dripping clean water onto sections you haven't cleaned yet. If there's a spot that's really baked on, dab on a little mineral oil first, give it 2 minutes, wipe it up, then come back with the soap solution. Get the knobs soaking in warm soapy water while you do the doors. Dry everything as you go. That's all there is to it. Tell me in the comments how long has it been since you cleaned yours. And if you've got a method that works better than anything I mentioned, I want to hear it. Some of the best things I know came from people who left a comment. I'll see you in the next one.